Mr. Ahmadinejad, your presidency is coming to an end. After 8 years of your rule, Iran finds itself in great economic difficulty. It is also isolated geopolitically. What would you say are your presidency's main achievements?
In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful, let me start with my usual prayer. O Lord, hasten the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi, the ultimate savior of mankind. Grant him good health and victory, and make us among the staunch believers who attest to his rightfulness. At the outset, I would like to say greetings to all the viewers of this program, and I would like to ask God Almighty to grant good health and success to all nations in the world. You mentioned 2 points about Iran's regional position, international position, also about the economic difficulties. Let me give you explanations on each of the points. First of all, let me return to economic issues. You know, economic issues are international ones as well. Doesn't Russia have economic woes? What about the US? And Europe, everywhere in the world. The world is facing economic recession, and the current economic crisis is an international one, and it has adversely affected all the countries. Also Iran. Let's not forget that Iran has been under a unilateral, one-sided, unfair sanction, and this has been unprecedented, so severe. And despite those 2 problems I just told you, we have made a lot of economic advancements, nothing short of a miracle. And I can say that economic indices, all of them are improving, and the per capita income is going up, and also the Human Development Index is on the rise, and our distribution of income and wealth, this is also improving. A lot of industrial advancements which have been very huge. I remember that once we were producing steel, a little steel, but now we are exporting steel to the world, also exporting cement, also exporting power and electricity. The capacity of manufacturing automobiles has doubled, and also the capacity for production overall has doubled. And our exports, I mean non-oil exports, has increased 7 times. These are indicative of our production power and our liveliness. Of course, we have problems, just like everywhere else in the world. But scientifically, Iran was ranked 32nd. Now Iran is ranked 14th in terms of scientific progress. Also, the speed and the pace of scientific growth is 11 times more than the average in the world. This means that we are moving forward very fast. In the last 8 years, Iran went to the space. Iran manufactured a satellite and launched it into the orbit. Iran became a nuclear power in nanotechnology and biotechnology. A lot of advancements, significant ones. In many fields related to technology, we are among the top 10 in the world. And these are all huge, significant advancements which have occurred in the country and under my presidency in the last 8 years. Yes, there are problems just like everywhere else in the world. I think the welfare, the level of the social welfare has increased. Let me give you about one indicator. In the last 8 years, the number of the cars in Iran has increased 3 times. The car, I mean, that is used by ordinary families. For the first time in the history of Iran, the number of housing units has actually become more than the number of families. Many advancements. Yes, naturally, we have economic problems just like other countries of the world. Yes, but regarding Iran's geopolitical position, Why do you say that Iran is isolated? Are we isolated? Isolated from what? The Western governments, from the beginning of the victory of the Islamic Revolution, have opposed us. They never ever wanted to have interactions and cooperation with us. They are doing the same thing after 34 years. We had a great victory because before the revolution they were dominating our mines, our oil, but now they cannot do this. There is no domination by them. Therefore they are angry with us. But now we have some of the strongest ties with the rest of the world. We are now the world's 17th largest economy. But before that, before my presidency, we were 22nd, the 22nd largest economy of the world. And in the next 3 years, we will be the 15th economy of the world. We have economic relations with more than 186 countries of the world. Political ones as well, comings and goings. Exchanges of delegations, cultural, scientific and technological relations, our volume of trade, non-oil one, has increased 7 times. These are more important than everything. Is that Iran has become more influential on the international arena. If we are isolated, then why is it that there is all this propaganda against us? If we are insignificant, then why are they going into a lot of trouble? Because they are doing this because we are influential, because we are affecting others. That is why they are putting pressure on us. Iran is like a culture. Persia is like a culture dating back 7,000 years. Nobody can isolate this culture. It is based on justice and humanitarian issues, based on friendship, peace-loving. It wants welfare and happiness for all. It favors dignity for humans, and these are the demands of all nations. When Iran is a popular name around the world, amongst the nations. Yes, there are several countries that are against us. They don't want to recognize the rights of the Iranian nation. Yes, of course. Therefore, we have 13 neighboring countries. We maintain good relations with all of them. A lot of exchanges of delegations. There are every year 12 million Iranians travel abroad. So this shows our interactions. This proves that we have interactions. We have sustainable, lasting scientific relations with more than 100 countries of the world. Yes, there are a couple of governments in the world. They think that they are the whole world wrapped up in them. They call themselves the international community. And so they are under the impression that if Iran doesn't have a relationship with them, then Iran does not have any relationship with the rest of the world. No, that's not true. But we believe that all the 7 billion people living on the planet Earth are all equal. They should enjoy equal rights. They should all be respected. There are more than 200 countries in the world. They should all be respected. And we have relations with them, with vast majority of them, with Africa, Latin America, with Asian countries. So that language that you're using, those few countries, that is not going to affect our relations with other countries. But in principle, we have problems. We have problems with them. We have problems with the way that they are running the world. We don't accept the method that they are following. Last year, there was this non-aligned movement summit in Tehran. The turnout, the participation was unprecedented, the biggest in the history of non-aligned movement. And where was it held? In Tehran, of course. the documents which were produced, the views offered about how the war should be run, they all contributed to the success of the Tehran summit. Yes, we are opposed to the way they are running the war. The way they are managing the war. Yes, we have said this vociferously. We don't want to have any quarrel with anybody. We don't want to start war with anybody. But we are against their ways because they just want to serve their own interests with bullying, with their military might. No, we have said it loud and clear. We are against this, and we do believe that the vast majority of the nations in the world are with us, agree with us.
Mr. Rouhani is the newly elected president of Iran. You know him personally. What do you think of him?
He is the president-elect of Iran. He is respected by everyone, and everybody will help him so that he will be successful in managing the affairs of the country.
If the candidate you were supporting wasn't disqualified from the presidential race, do you think the outcome of the elections would be different?
Definitely.
Why didn't you contest, like you said you would, his disqualification?
No, I hadn't said it before that I'm going to contest it or to object to it. Yes, there is a law and I just obeyed the law.
I remember when you came to power, you really came by the help of the masses. You're the first president who didn't come by the help of the ruling elite, and you positioned your presidency as independent from the clerics. 8 years later, how do you see the clerics now?
No, you see, these are some historical, religious, social matters and issues in Iran, very complicated ones. Iran is Iran. People of Iran are cultured people, dating back 7,000 years. Their civilization runs deep in history. Yes, and because of that, Iran is very complicated, socially and politically. My team will continue to be at the service of the people and the country, and we are going to maintain our strong ties with the masses of the people. This is a thought. This is my thought, and this is going to continue. The clerics in Iran are not like one distinct classification of the society. They're just like other people. They have different views, they have different inclinations. I mean, it is not like this that the clerics are like one distinct classification of people or one party in Iran. No. There are many clerics who are pro my government. They are supporters of my government.
Would you say you were able to do everything you wanted in this years? You pushed your policies and you didn't have any obstacles from the clergy?
No, you cannot find anybody who can do whatever he wishes to, because we have to act within a framework. In Russia, can Mr. Putin do anything he likes? I mean, there is this constitution, there is this parliament, there are different political groups, there's this public culture, a social system in place. Yes, maybe somebody has some wishes and he cannot fulfill them in 8 years. Yes, we have great expectations. Everybody has great wishes, but can we hope that they can all be fulfilled and they can all come true? Of course not, because it's a material world. There are some obstacles. The conditions should be provided. Yes, I do believe that I have achieved great success in achieving my wishes and my demands. Yes, there has been some opposition because there's a free society. People express their views and their mind. Yes, the way I do things has been different from others. Yes, naturally, I have been opposed.
Mr. President, why do you think Iran never had direct dialogue with the United States in 8 years? Because there were attempts from the U.S. side.
You know, the principle of dialogue is good in principle. I mean, talking, having dialogue, it is the best way to resolve differences. Nobody can be opposed to dialogue. Yes, we said from the get-go that we are pro-dialogue. But under what circumstances? If somebody comes to you and holds a hammer over your head and forces you to have a dialogue with him, then that is not right. Dialogue is to gain understanding, is to resolve differences, and it should not be used as a method to impose on others. It should happen under fair and just circumstances. Yes, there were times when we were ready to have a dialogue with the US, but the other side was not ready. There were other times when they were claiming that they were going to have a dialogue with us, but the conditions were not right for us, and it was unilateral, so we didn't accept it. But all in all, I think dialogue is a good thing, and ultimately we have no other choice but to have a dialogue.
You know, the latest NSA leaks by Edward Snowden reveal actually that Iran was under the heaviest of the electronic controls by the United States. Did you know about that?
Yes, it's natural. This is the world of communications. When you get connected to internet, when there is a satellite, to communication networks, yes, there are going to be problems like that, but I don't think it was as heavy as they claim it was. We are now speaking to each other right now. How do you think that we are being bugged? This place is being bugged. Maybe it is. Maybe we are being bugged. It is not difficult to do.
Did you take any countermeasures, defensive measures?
Yes, naturally. There is this, I would call it, soft war going on in the virtual world. Yes, our agencies are doing this if it is necessary. Yeah, we have been attacked. Our electronic and communications networks have been attacked. Our nuclear network was attacked. They defused it. They counterattacked it. Our banking system has been under attack. We defended ourselves. Some of our vital networks, electricity, water networks have been attacked. Yes, it has become second nature to us. It is something routine for us. Yes, these are the harms and the disadvantages of the technology. Communications. Yes, sometimes cyber attacks are.
The revolutions that have swept the Arab countries, they just seem so implausible. But yet we have leaders like Mubarak, Ben Ali, Gaddafi that were ousted. No one thought that would happen. How safe does the ruling elite feel in Iran?
We have to look into this at two different levels. One is the level that is going on in those countries. Yes. From the beginning, I believe that the people of those countries are just like the rest of the people in the world. They want to have better lives. They want to have better life conditions. They are after freedom and justice. They want welfare and happiness. They were looking for an opportunity to change the situation. But it was like a domino. It happens so fast in Arab countries. I think this was not really that natural. I think there was a kind of management. These revolutions were managed. That is something I don't want to get into, because neither of these countries have yet achieved stability and peace. We hope that they will ultimately. But you said that, what about in Iran? No ruler should feel safe. Nowhere in the world. not just in Iran, because the human societies, communities are moving forward. They want to achieve perfection. Their demands have not been fulfilled. Can you show me a city in which the people are 100% satisfied, and they say something like, the life that we're living is ideal, we don't want nothing else? No, I think humanity still has a long way to go. Can you give me an example of a place where justice is administered fully? No. Can any government say that it has been able to implement justice in this society? Can any government say that it has stayed true to all the rights of the people? Let me give you an example. There are now 7 billion people on the planet Earth. The people who are active in governance and the politicians, how many of them are there? 100,000 people maybe, officials, and the governments come and go, and they're exchanged between those 100,000 people. So what about the rest of the population of the world? The rest of the 7 billion people? Where in the world can we say that rights of the people are respected completely? There are pressures, there are some imperfect legislations everywhere in the world. So no ruler should feel safe unless he cares about and respects the rights of the people, and unless he's ahead of the people. And when he is lagging behind, the people are going to overtake him. Especially today, in this world, a lot of borders have been removed, a lot of boundaries. Now I'm talking to you, okay? I don't feel as if I'm different from you because I'm an Iranian and you're Russian. Maybe 20 years ago, there was such a distinction. We felt so strongly about our nationalities. But now we are talking about from the viewpoint of humanity. Borders are being removed. People are coming together and closer to each other. People are thinking global and universal. People are thinking about other things. Justice, unfulfilled historical wishes of mankind, and everything is evolving so fast. People are moving towards justice. Any ruler, any government, if does not adapt itself to it, then they are going to lag behind the people. Iran is no exception. The US is no exception. Russia, same thing. Arab countries, no exceptions. But God has promised that there will be justice. And if it happens, then humanity will be happy. And I think people are now vigilant and wide awake. They want their rights to be fulfilled. I'm not saying that mistakes are not made. Yes, maybe there might be some rebellions, unjust ones. So everybody should be careful. Everybody should try to listen to the people, to stay true to justice. This is something universal. Nobody is exempted from this.
Do you think the Muslim Brotherhood will hold into power in Egypt?
You know, Muslim Brotherhood is a historical current movement. It's a way of thinking. And it is going to remain in power unless something else comes and it is superior to this way of thinking. It is not going to be eliminated completely. But the thing is that, can we say that the president coming from the Brotherhood is going to be the president of the Egypt forever? No, I don't think so.
I want to ask you about Israel.
Let me, you know, I think human societies are changing. I mean, it is not like this. We cannot manage a country with only one party, with only one way of thinking. I think that humanity is has passed this. It is like 100 million people. There are different views, difference of opinion in that country. You cannot rule them with only one single method. You have to listen to all the people so that everybody feels that he is there, he is included in the policy makings. Yes. They should try to work on the commonalities. If we limit ourselves, then we will not be successful. I'm telling you that in the next 5 or 6 years, the places that will be run this way, limited way, with narrow-mindedness, then they are going to change revolutions, including the U.S.
I want to ask you about Syria. I know you don't like the word isolated geopolitically, but many believe that one of the main reasons why the West is so after Assad is because the ultimate target is you and Iran, to isolate you, because he's your ally in the region.
You know, the issue of Syria is very complicated. I mean, when we say Syria, then Israel comes to our mind immediately. These two are so interrelated. I mean, you have to look into Syria in a historical context. Of course, we have said it before, that it is the right of every nation to enjoy freedom, dignity, and justice. Everybody should have the right to have free choice. They should be able to choose and elect their rulers themselves. This is the most basic principle. I mean, in Syria, the same thing should happen. But there are two things, there are two methods which are now being pursued. One is militarism, or the method of war. There are some who want to come to power militarily. I think that is wrong. We think that is wrong. Anybody who comes to power militarily means that he approves of war, of armed conflicts, especially in countries in which there are different ethnic groups or different clans. There is another method, that is national reconciliation. Everybody should come, there should be free election, and people choose their destiny, and everybody who is elected should be respected by everyone. We think that the second method works and is the right one for everywhere, especially for Syria. Yes, I do agree with what you said somehow. The Westerners don't want the Syrian issue to come to an end. They are pursuing two objectives. First, the continuation of this crisis is in their favor. It is in the favor of the Zionist regime. It has provided the Zionists with a historical opportunity. Yes, if it continues for 20 years, then they are going to have a peace for 20 years. But before that, they felt that they were under pressure. So now they say that in Egypt, in Libya, in Syria, there are conflicts in all the regional countries. So nobody is paying attention to them, so they can rest at peace. The second thing is that under the pretext of the Syrian question, they want the crisis to spread out to the neighboring countries, to Iraq, to Lebanon, to Turkey, because they want to affect the whole region. They are after a new Middle East, and they want to do this through developing this crisis. So I don't think that they want the Syrian problem to come to an end swiftly. They want it to continue.
I have two questions in one because we're running out of time. Do you believe the Israeli rhetoric is just rhetoric, or they're going to actually hit the Iranian nuclear facilities? And also, do you have a proof that Israel has nuclear weapon? Because Netanyahu certainly thinks that Iran will have 200 soon.
You mean Iran is going to have 200 warheads?
That's what he says.
ایشون اینو میگه بله. This is something that I've said many times before. It is not of any use to us to have nukes. Can we use it? I mean, nuclear weapons? They're useless. Do you think that anybody can use it? The U.S. has most of the nukes in the world. Can it use this? Where can it use it? I mean, human societies are well over this one. It is so 20th century. Even not the people of the US are going to allow the government to make use of them. It is the most brutal, most inhuman weapon that can be used against others. Iran, throughout history, has always been a defender and has always used conventional weapons. It has never used chemical weapons. Iran is still defending itself. It is mostly a political, cultural defense. We don't need any nuclear weapons. Iran is not a country that has been fabricated or has been created on the map. No. It was not like this, that there were some people who had rulers in their hands, they went to the map and they put some lines on it and they said that, yeah, this is Iran. But it cannot be said about the Zionist regime, you know. Russia, Iran, Russia, thousands of years, we are rooted in these territories. We don't need such recognitions. There are some other ones, they are fabricated regimes. They occupy some other territories and they just changed the name. And the people there feel insecure because they don't belong there. They have come from other places. Yes, those need nuclear weapons, not us. I remember that I was having this conversation with His Excellency Mr. Putin in China in order to dismantle all the nuclear weapons in the world, to eliminate them, because Russia does not want to have such weapons. I know that. Yes, that's natural. Why should it possess such weapons? But because others have them, then some might want to have them. Yes, in defending ourselves against the Zionists, we don't need such weapons. I think that there are enough wise, rational people in the US who would not allow the Zionist regime to do such a stupid thing. Iranian nuclear facilities are not going to go away with bombardments. They are in the heads of our scientists. We have localized it. Iran is 1,873,000 square kilometers. That's the vastness. So, are they going to bomb everywhere? Yes, these are just this is psychological war. Of course, we are ready to defend ourselves.